Hello everybody, my name is Life is Fun, and welcome back to my next video we're going to do here on YouTube, and it's going to be a follow-up to my How I Would Do RWBY Volume 5, which for those of you who've watched that, was a two-parter about a week ago was about part 2, and 3 weeks ago was part 1. How I personally would do RWBY Volume 5 myself. It's coming out in 2 months now, but it's basically if I had control how I would do it. 2 half-hour-long videos, and that's basically the reason I'm doing this follow-up, because this is going to be a quick synopsis, a quick overview, a clip note version of how I would do RWBY Volume 5 for those of you out there that don't have the time for an hour long to watch both parts, although I'd recommend doing that because those are going to be a lot more in detail, and this video is going to be a quick, or at least hopefully it is, because my first time I tried recording this and I didn't have the memory and it went off, it was a half-hour long. So let's try if I could fit 12 episodes into a quick succession, starting with, you guys know, these are the names of the titles if you watch the video, the chapters. But what you have not seen these are what I was reading. If you guys notice my eyes flickering on and off throughout the thing, like I was reading these as I was trying to do it, trying to remember as much as I can and read off the papers. So let's get started with Chapter 1, Welcome to Mistral. Chapter 1 basically is about 2-3 weeks after Volume 4 ends. It's like resting, like Crow tells them to get some rest, get food, get eaten up, because you have to be ready for anything as possible, and we're going in the Haven, blah, 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 blah. We see RWBY basically just looking out the window of the inn, questioning what's going on with, loss of Pyrrha and, Penny, the fall of Beacon, Salem, and stuff like that. Just kind of general stuff that kind of went over partially at the end of Volume 4. Jean calls to her from out on the streets, and can we walk? They talk about the same stuff, and they meet with Ren and Nora, and just kind of go over review basically what's been going on. RWBY randomly bumps into Weiss, throwback to Volume 1. Then we go to Salem's castle, and we basically have, Salem knows about the White Fang are about to attack Haven. They're getting ready to head out to attack Haven. And there's information about RWBY, the redheaded girl, going to she's going to be at Haven. This infuriates Tyrion. He wants revenge and asks Salem to let him go. She doesn't really fully trust him yet, and says, okay, Hazel's going to follow you, so I can at least have a little bit more faith in you going with the plan. Watts kind of gives an update on Lionheart. Is he with us or not? And basically Cinder's about to question her, like, can I go too? And then Salem's like, no, you're not ready yet. You're not fully ready. You're going to still here and get some rest. And this angers Cinder. After the meeting, we basically have Watts kind of like mocking Cinder. I'm kind of building on the hatred between these two. Like, do you fear RWBY? You're being weak? What have you done these last 6-7 months or whatever since the fall of Beacon? What your loss of your eye, your voice? I've been doing stuff for Salem. I've been doing the mission with Lionheart, blah, blah, blah. You're useless. Cue intro about, I basically said it's about basically like the girls being separate and then trying to run through a maze, trying to get to each other, and they're pulled away by ropes or chains by their specific problems. The Schnee family, Salem, Cinder, Adam, Ilya, whatever. And that's basically Chapter 1. Chapter 2 is Sunflower. This is going to be a Blake Yang episode. It starts with Blake and Sun in Menagerie. They're about to set out on a boat at night to get over to Menagerie so they can get ready for the, fighting the White Fang at Haven. Gira says they should sneak out at night, uses his sources to find people to trust, because there's obviously in Menagerie going to be secret White Fang members and people that trust the White Fang more. And they need extra help. He finds 2 Faunus people. I made them very minor characters, no names, just it's male and female Faunus that don't trust the White Fang, want to help fighting the White Fang. They join him, they get on a boat, they're going to sell out. Gira decides to stay behind to protect Kali and get to the bottom of the situation with Sienna Khan. They're on a boat, they set out, they want to make sure the White Fang don't notice them. Lo and behold, pans over, White Fang members notice that they left on a boat. Then we go over to the Yang situation. Yang's riding a motorcycle still down that road. She's contemplating the decision to leave. Was she ready yet? Was she being a burden on her dad? Is she ready to fight? What did she make the right decision where to go? She is going after RWBY, but she wonders if she made the right decision. Can RWBY handle herself? Is RWBY old enough to kind of handle herself now? I want to go figure out what my mom, I want to figure out the mom situation. I want to go down with her. She's not ready. She's sure to fight. She had all these decisions in her mind. She does not notice that there's 2 bandits in the middle of the road. Get stopped. End of Chapter 2. Chapter 3. If I can get this on. Thank you. Lionheart. We go back to RWBY at the school, and pretty much on the way to this, at Mistral, they bump and they kind of catch up with Weiss. She's like super excited. She's wondering why Weiss is there. Weiss basically said she needed to get out, and she wanted to find Winter, who's in Mistral, and goes on about like why she's there, and like basically she's had the pilot guy let her out like out in the forest instead of like in the town, so she's inconspicuous, so the Atlas ship doesn't show up in Mistral and wonder what the heck's going on. She does a little bit of training on the way too. She wants to go find Winter, and then informs her Winter's been traveling Mistral or doing something in Mistral, and she's like, oh, she's probably at Haven. That's what RWBY says. And they're going to go there too. Crow shows up with Oscar. This takes place like right the heck after the secret, like the after credits ending with the bar scene in Volume 4. They question who this kid is, and he's like, "Oh, this is not important right now." Oscar, go to the inn. You can be safe there. You're not gonna be. You'll be safer there than with us. We're gonna go over to Haven. We need to travel now. We need to meet with Lionheart. They meet at the time lapse. I basically in the video said I don't know how long it takes, but really, if you notice at the end of Volume 4, the school, which I'm assuming was in the distance when they looked at Mistral, doesn't seem to be very far from where they were at the inn at. Atlas ships are coming down. Winter shows up. Weiss is extremely eccentric and just goes over to her. She questions why she's there. She's a little bit mad. Like, why are you here? You'd be safer at Atlas. You'd be safer at home. But Weiss is like, I couldn't stay home. I needed to leave home. I couldn't be with the family. I needed to be out here. I needed to help. I needed to get involved. And Winter, while maybe a little mad that she left, is happy that she made her decision for herself. They enter the school, say it's urgent to speak with Lionheart. And they meet up with some members from the school that basically were in the Vital Festival that were from Haven, like Team Sun. And they question where Sun is, and they basically Scarlet and Neptune like he's probably at finding out where Blake, whatever with Blake, because she ran and whatnot. Lionheart talks to them, knows what happened at Beacon, the fall of Beacon, the disappearance of Ozpin, preparing the school for an attack. And Watts walks up behind Lionheart and is pretending to be his assistant. Neptune says, "Oh, I don't really trust this guy. He's only been showing up here for a short while. I don't really fully trust him." But RWBY's like, oh, if Lionheart trusts him, we could trust him. He's a headmaster. I trusted Ironwood and Ozpin. This is I can trust. You're worrying too much, Neptune. Then Watts kind of silent walks up from behind, like Lionheart's like, "You're gonna play along right now, or I'm going to kill you, or worse, I'm going to send you to Salem. Play along with your assistants. Do not let them know who I really am, or you're going to pay." And then chapter 3. Chapter 4, Forgotten Memories. This is going to be a Blake episode, a Blake flashback episode. We go on the boat. Sun asks Blake, like, how do you know these Adam and Ilya people? She says she wanted to forget about it. She doesn't really know about, like, she wanted to forget all about this stuff because it's tragic for her. It's like too hard for her to remember, and she's been they've been coming back since the fall of Beacon and meeting Adam again. They grew up as 3 kids from members of the White Fang. They wanted to support the boss rights thing. Adam probably being about a year or 2 older than Blake. And Ilya kind of become friends because of their connections to their families, and he wants to protect her because Blake's probably like the weaker of the group, and he kind of becomes close to her, and this starts this obsession. Ilya has a thing for Adam, and during the peaceful protest with White Fang outside, probably in Menagerie or whatever, the entire White Fang group that was out there, a large group of fawns, were killed, including Adam and Ilya's parents. Gira wasn't there. Him and Sanacon, whoever the leader was probably off doing a meeting or something in Menagerie. This hurts Ilya, and especially hurts Adam, because all he really had was his family. He was super close to his parents or a brother or a sister or whoever the heck was family that got killed. And basically now all he has left is Blake. This builds towards the obsession, and time lapse over time as them like growing older and getting into teenagers. And Blake starts noticing the changes over time, like mentioned before, more of a violent killing humans nature. She still stands by him because she thinks he's right. We kind of see that Adam never takes off the mask because it's like his old self is dead and his new self is there. And we fast forward to the train scene. Blake leaves, and between that and her showing up at Beacon, we see that Ilya tries stopping her from running, questions why she was leaving, and they kind of fight. And Blake runs, and then she tries to forget about it and enters Beacon. And then we see that Sun tries to comfort her, but she obviously seems hurt trying to remember all this stuff. That's the end of chapter 4. Chapter 5, Self-Doubt. Like I said, I'm going by this really freaking fast. We got back to Yang, coming over by the 2 bandits. She's not really sure she's able to fight or not, or defend herself. And the bandits are like, "Oh, we want your work." Like, "Oh, we want your money." "Oh, we want blah, 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 blah." And she's like, "No." And they start to attack her. They taunt her about her arm. "What the heck happened to you? You can't fight. Can you defend yourself?" Blah, blah, blah. And she starts aggressively fighting like she usually did. But this is her first fight since Beacon, and she's not ready for it. And fighting her old way kind of gets her destroyed because she's not thinking straight. And then she starts to remember what her dad said about fighting more strategically and smarter and not being like her mom. And since they're bandits and they're weak, she's able to do a small little strategy to come up off the spot and beat them, and they both run. She's tired out just from a small little skirmish, and she falls to the ground, looks at their arm, wrong arm, there we go, and takes a breather, and she's like, can I go on? Like, this is the first fight, and I'm freaking tired from just 2 bandits. We go over to the Salem's castle, and Salem's still training Cinder. She still continues to show anger towards RWBY. There's Angry knocking at the door. Emerald opens the door. Shocked who it is. We see a close-up of a pink eye. That's the end of that chapter. If you know pink eye, you probably know who it is. If you see my videos, you know who it is. Chapter 6, the halfway point. Loyalty or betrayal. We go to back to the school. Lionheart shows RWBY and the crew around the school that they're preparing the students, how they're preparing the school. Say they don't need help. They'd probably be more prepared because Beacon was a random occurrence, but they're now ready. So if you want to stick behind, we could probably take your help. Watts is still playing the assistant, keeping an eye on Lionheart so he doesn't give away his, his position and whatnot. And at this point, Lionheart's having internal struggles, like, is he going to side with Salem's forces or not? And he keeps an eye because Watts is keeping a close eye on him. There's an explosion heard in the distance. There's power outlets just flickering on and off, and explosions. And White Fang, they don't know what's going on. And White Fang starts storming the school. They catch him off guard. They try to fight and escape. They try to fight them off and then start running. The students versus the White Fang, and then we basically find out the doors start locking down. The group turns around. Lionheart has a switch, locks them inside. Shocked look on RWBY's face. White Fang overrun them. Watts plays along. They're all locked up in the room. Weapons taken away, and they're questioning why Lionheart would betray him. And then out from the distance, because it's starting to get near nighttime and it's darker in the school, and there's like hardly any lights because the power went out. Adam walks up and basically goes point blank at RWBY's face and asks her, "Where's Blake?" That's chapter 6, halfway point. Thank you. We're 10 minutes or so in, and I'm on the second half. Cross Pass, chapter 7. We go back to Oscar at the inn. He's looking up at the distance of the school. He's worrying where they're at. Ozpin shares the same mindset. They should be back by now. Something doesn't feel right. Yang rides up in the motorcycle, almost knocks him over. She gets angry. He's like, you should pay attention to your surroundings, kid. Notices that he's basically a little concerned. Questions about it. Basically, questions like he doesn't know what's going on, but he came into menagerie because of this. He met up with this drunk guy and this red and black girl. And she questions like, what's my uncle and my sister and whatnot. And she's like, well, where are they? Over at the school. And she wants to go up there. He wants to follow her. He wants to go with her. He's like, I don't want to be on the wayside. I want to help. I want to get involved because I don't want to be useless. And then they ride up. Then we see that basically Adam is in the school. He basically is telling every member, you storm the school, you tear it apart because you're going to find Blake because I know she's there. And he's like, dude, we have to follow the mission with Salem. We have to get the relic for Salem and whatnot. And he's like, he lashed out. He's like, no, this is more important. And he walks off. Then we basically see Lionheart in his study, basically contemplating a decision. Did he make the right decision or not? Because he's seen all this students face, all these students that trust him, especially this girl RWBY who has no idea he just met. Like, was super shocked at his betrayal because she trusts him so much. And he looks over to the relic, which is pretty much probably behind the bookcase or something. And then Sun, Blake, and the Faunus, they reach the shore. They start running towards the school. It's nearing nightfall. Is night probably at this point. And Blake asks if Sun asks Blake if she's okay, if she's ready to meet Adam. She's like, I'm never going to be ready, but I have to stand up to my fears of Adam and be prepared for that. RWBY and the crew are talking in their cell. They question Lionheart. Why did he do it? Who can they trust at this point? And then she starts bringing up Salem and whatnot stuff, and people are like, "Who's this Salem lady?" And Crow tries to stop her, and Watts is obviously there. He's like, "No," and he's trying to. I'm going to stay out of this because I want them to give away my position. And Crow tries to stop her. It's like, no. RWBY's like, if there's a war going to break out, if Salem's doing all this stuff, the world of Remnant needs to know about this force known as Salem. She starts talking about her, and then we go back to Salem's castle. Cinder, Mercury, and Emerald are leaving. Emerald's questioning if she wants to really go. Like, Salem's not going to be happy that we're leaving. And Cinder's like, yes, we have to go. And she wants to go after RWBY. And they start walking down, pan up to the window. We notice that Salem sees them, that they're going to go. Salem knows that they're going. Chapter 8. An old-fashioned breakout. Okay, and you run through this. It's about 13 minutes. Basically, Yang and Oscar arrive at the school. They notice that the White Fang are guarding outside. Yang knocks a few of them out. They sneak inside. Oscar is too scared to move forward. And Yang's like, okay, just find safety. It's fine. You're at least here, whatever you're on the wayside. Just find safety. I'll do stuff. She fights with the White Fang. Comes across Lionheart's office. Lionheart is shocked to see her. And Yang questions like what's going on, where her sister is. And like, oh, it's RWBY. And then he's kind of put off by it because the girl he betrayed that kind of trusts him out of nowhere. And he basically tells her about Salem, who she doesn't know about at this point, White Fang, and doesn't understand any of this stuff, because she doesn't know about Salem yet. Lionheart doesn't know what to do and regrets his decision, and Yang threats him, like, what did you do? What did you do to my sister? And he tells him where to find her, where to find the weapons and whatnot. Go find them. Watch out for Adam, watch out for the White Fang. And Yang finds the students freezing, they're sneaking through. Ruby goes crazy emotional, finding her sister, and asks her why she's there. The group breaks out. And Watt sneaks out the back. Watt just kind of runs out back. And they get their weapons, they fight off. And then we go to Blake, Sun, and the Faunus, kind of finding some White Fang ships, sneaking around, beat up some of the members, and interrogate them what's going on. And then voices are heard from the distance back at the school when they break out of the classrooms. Tyrion and Hazel walk around the corner. Tyrion's pissed at Ruby, and Hazel won't let them go any further. You're not going to go any further. Crow stands up to him, and Winter backs him up and says, you guys go, we'll handle them. And as they're moving forward, the group of students are running down the hallway, and they're stopped by a cloaked figure. That's the end of Chapter 8. Chapter 9 is Battle of Haven. We basically see the cloaked figure. The cloak takes off the cloak, and it's freaking Neo, who's probably fought her way months to get back to Salem's castle. All torn up clothes, and they're all weakened, and doesn't look like the same Neo. Probably torn hair, everything too. They're shocked to see her. Ruby is especially surprised she's still alive, and Neo looks pissed at Ruby, obviously, because she believes she's the fault of Torchwood dying, which she kind of is. Ruby tells the group to move ahead. I'll handle Neo. Yang looks concerned, but she probably has faith in Ruby. As Ruby grown up, as she can handle herself. Weiss tells her to get the job done and get back to us. The group moves forward. The alarm sounds off. White Fang starts storming the school, and we see the various students of the school fighting the White Fang. While there's a battle between Neo and Ruby commences, Neo's strategy is a bit different. She's not really thinking super straight. She's probably more tired and not fully, super, old school Neo. Like Neo, how Neo was in volumes 2 and 3. And she's more aggressive and crazier, not thinking. And Ruby has a hard time trying to begin the fight with her, but starts fighting around her style and is able to fight smarter, get into a position to knock her out of the window. Ruby looks out the window, notices there's nothing on the ground, which is to assume Neo still is alive. Blake, Sun, and the Faunus people reach the school. They fight Wei Fang. They bump into Yang and Neptune and John and whatever. And it's like shocked look on Blake and Yang. They're about to talk. Blake's like Yang, and they're like about to talk. Adam's voice comes from behind. Him and Ilya walk through the Wei Fang, and a fight's about to commence. Chapter 9. Chapter 10. Reunion. More ways than one. Adam basically tells Blake that he's going to take her back with her. Blake says she's not going to back down. She's not going to let him take her. Yang and Sun back her up. Ilya stands behind Adam, obviously. Adam tells everyone else to leave. All the students, all the White Fang, get out of there. Group of the White Fang leave. The students leave. Yang and Sun stay behind. Like, we're not going to let you go. We're not going to stand behind you, Blake. And Ilya decides to stay for Adam as well. Adam and Ilya versus Blake, Sun, Yang commences. They start to fight, but it doesn't last too long because then we get the shot. We move over to the students and the White Fang leaving. As soon as they get out of the area, the battle commences because now they're not worried. The White Fang aren't worried about Adam, and they're about to fight each other again. And it spreads throughout the school, outside the school, down the hallways, in the classrooms. Just a big commence. Think Battle of Hogwarts, basically. The students continue fighting. Ren and Nora fight together. Weiss and Jean fight together, etc. Adam questions why Blake still defends humans. Basically, Blake responds that both sides need to find common ground. There's problems on both sides, and they need to work it out. Adam brings up the death of his parents. Humans are more violent, blah, blah, blah. Blake brings up that they don't know what happened. The Faunus of that peace protest basically all died. There was no survivors. We don't know if humans were involved or not. And that the White Fang were violent too. This infuriates Ilya. She starts to try to attack Blake. Sun defends her. And then Adam walks over to Yang and Blake, pulls out a sword, and he says he's going to take them on, both of them on by himself. Chapter 10 done. Oh, we're at 18 minutes. Okay. Chapter 11, Vengeance for the Fallen. Sun and Ilya start fighting one-on-one, and Adam versus Blake and Yang starts. The battle goes on for a bit. Ilya mocks Sun. He says he's going to get payback for Menagerie. Yang and Blake try fighting Adam. Ruby catches up with the group and helps him a bit. She questions probably where Yang and all that are as well, because she probably meets up with like Neptune and whatnot, and Weiss and Jean and everything. We see a small glimpse of the Tyrion, Hazel versus Winter and Crow fight. They kind of bicker at each other like they did in Volume 3, but they kind of they do work well together, and they have to work together anyways. So we got that. Ruby and crew are fend off most of the White Fang and shocked to see who's in the distance. We see Emerald, Mercury, and Cinder kind of just show up in the school. Jean's furious and pissed off and runs off, and technically Ruby is too. Weiss calls out to him like, don't let your emotions cloud you. Where are you guys going? Don't break formation. And then she starts running after him while, Ren and Nora and Neptune and Scarlet are still fighting off Mars and they're questioning where they're going to, and Weiss runs after him. Adam is single-handedly able to pretty much take on, Blake and Yang. Yang's uncomfortable fighting them again, and Blake appears concerned about it. So and Ilya fight a bit more, and then RWBY, Jean, and Weiss are separated from the rest of the group for Cinder, Mercury, and Emerald. RWBY is mad and questions why are you doing this? What's going on? Why it's Fall Beacon? What's with all this stuff? What's with Salem? And Jean says it doesn't matter. She's already done it. It doesn't really matter anymore why she did it or not. She did it. And the fight commences between them. Chapter 11 done. Final chapter of my Volume 5. Who to Trust, Chapter 12. And just look at how long this one is. This is probably the longest of my thing I wrote out. Chapter 12, we basically have Emerald versus Weiss, kind of like the fight kind of starts separating a bit. Jean versus Mercury and RWBY versus Cinder. We see a little more of the Winter Crow versus Tyrion Hazel fight. They're able to kind of get a slight advantage because, Tyrion's anger is kind of throwing off the team effort between him and Hazel. Oscar randomly shows up in the battle and catches Hazel off guard because he remembers him from the train, and Winter's able to get a good attack on him. Tyrion and Hazel seem defeated, and they retreat, defeated. Crow wants to go after them, but it's too late, and he questions why Oscar's there. He said, I got a ride from Yang, blah, 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 who he probably would have knew about anyway at this point because she freed him. And Crow tells Oscar to follow him in Winter. Sun is able to overcome Ilya a bit, but Blake and Yang during their fight kind of have they're kind of grouped up, standing under their breath, kind of talking to each other what happened so far, and that they need to catch up and work stuff out because obviously there's a little bit of anger between them apparently, or stuff like that, or difference of emotions, but they have to worry about Adam at this point. I think strategically they beat him. Sun knocks Ilya into, they kind of fight a little bit, and then Sun knocks Ilya into a wall where all this stuff starts crumbling down and crushes her. Not dead though, she gets just knocked down and crushed. Pieces of stone or brick or whatever the school is built out of. Adam fights Blake and Yang, and it's caught off guard because they kind of small little strategy attacks off the spot. Blake kind of goes in to sacrifice herself, gets probably hit by an attack while Yang jumps up and arms again. Robo-arms Adam in the freaking face. And this kind of really shocks Adam because he's never really hurt. He's too much of a badass to really get hurt, and he's probably hasn't been hurt in a long freaking time. So it kind of shocks him a bit. He's not able to fight their strategy. He retreats, leaving Ilya behind. Ilya calls him Adam, where are you going? Save me! Adam! And RWBY and Cinder's crews fighting each other again. Sean's barely able to defend against Mercury. Mercury's still too much of a thing for him. He's gotten better at fighting now. Emerald and Weiss is fairly even, and Cinder and RWBY is all over the place. And that fight separates itself from the group because then we start seeing Cinder and RWBY start fighting all the way across. They break each other in the windows and down the hallways and stuff. It's like this fight now is separate in and of itself. We don't see what's going on with the Weiss, Emerald, and Jean, Mercury thing. It's kind of then they're fighting each other. Intense fighting, stuff destroyed, and Cinder just disappears, and RWBY kind of comes across Lionheart talking to those in there, and she starts, she sees Lionheart and Watts are in there. Watts stuck his way to the office. And she warns about Cinder and questions it Lionheart, are you really bad? Is something going on? Why are you doing this? And she's happy to see him, but she's happy, she's questioning, what's going on. If Watts can still trust him or whatever, stuff like that, because she doesn't know about Watts at all. And then Cinder kind of shows up at the room, and Lionheart has the relic in his hand, and he starts saying, RWBY, I have the relic. I'm going to give this to you. This is yours. Because he makes a decision not to be with them. And he tells them, Salem's forces are blackmailing me. Salem's forces are forcing me to... I'm worried about my own self rather than everyone else. And Oscar ends up running near the room, and then he has a shocked look on his face because inside his head, Ozpin notices Watts. And in my mind, Ozpin knows who Watts is. And he starts to tell watch out. Watts, he works for Salem. He works for Salem, blah, blah, blah. And then RWBY's what? And she's questioning it, and she turns around. Watts takes a dagger, stabs Ozpin in the back, and picks up the relic. And RWBY's shocked, and then Cinder's angry, just knocks down freaking Oscar and uses her fire to pretty much knock RWBY out. And then we see Watts and Cinder walking over and knocked out RWBY's body. And then we see a pan of the school, the aftermath of the battle. The White Gang are retreating. We see Yang and Blake trying to slightly help it, they're resting and kind of maybe talking a little bit. Weiss and Jean, Ren and Nora, Scarlet, and Neptune and whatnot, just like members of the school, Winter and Crow and everything, just kind of like getting a little bit like a breath of fresh air, like a breath of like, relieve and rest. And then we pan our way to Salem's castle. Mercury and Emerald are dragging in that little meeting room, dragging Ruby's knocked out unconscious body up to the window where Salem's looking out. Let her go. Salem turns around, walks over to Ruby, grabs her by the head, and is like, "Oh, Miss Rose, how a pleasure it is to finally meet you. Oh, where are my manners? My name is Salem." And her eyes glow red, blackout screen. We then go, credits, about, who can you trust, like friends, family, what's issues in the world, and blah, 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 the problems and stuff like that. And then we go to after credits scene where we see those two bandits from before walk into a building. It pans up into a seat where we see Raven, and they're part of Raven's tribe. And she kind of has a smirk on her face and like, she's ready to finally meet me, isn't she? Or something similar to that effect, because she knows that Yang is looking for her. End of volume. And that's about 25 some odd minutes. That's at least better than an hour. So people, you got 25 minutes. That's my volume 5. I hope you guys liked it. Put in the comments what you think. Is this a good way to do the volume? Do you think this is a good volume? Do you think it's a good story or anything? What do you guys think? Put in the comments what you think. And how would you guys personally do volume 5? See you all later in my next video. My name is Thank You. Peace. Please subscribe if you want to. Have a lovely day.